Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Kalil with Morning Chalk Up in the Bottom Line. And today we have a crew because we are getting ready for Wodapalooza. The week is finally here. Lots of excitement, 10th year anniversary. On the show today, we have Patrick Clark, Brian Friend, and we have our guest. He is back for more. He had so much fun last time that Chase is welcoming us with his presence again.
Hey, I can't get enough of it. Yeah. Oh, let's not go that far. It's like, oh no, I have to talk about CrossFit.
Well, I missed you last time. We've booted Tommy to the curb.
Sorry, Tommy. It's Brian's
Tommy's
turn.
so busy.
So busy. But you guys are all going to be in Miami next week. I'm sure we will all catch up. What are you guys most looking forward to?
I haven't traveled at all since Vegas, I think, or Granite Games, whichever one came second. So I'm in, you guys know as well as anyone that these things are always getting together and seeing people you haven't seen in a long time. And I happen to know that there's a few friends of mine that I haven't seen in 2 years that are going to be there in Miami. So just to see some people that I haven't seen in a long time and catch up with some old friends.
I think for me, it's just being back at Wodapalooza. I've done a wonderful job of having children in the month of February. So since 2015, when I first started being able to go there, I've missed it twice. And then, so it's going to be great to be back. It's one of those off-season events that's very special to me, and kind of how I got started with some off-season broadcasting gigs with, and I get to be with Bill Grunler again, which me and Bill haven't broadcasted together in over 2 years, I feel like. So it's going to be one hell of a reunion, and so I'm definitely pumped about that for sure.
Yeah, I basically they hit it right on, hammer nailed, got it. But I don't know. Yeah, I can't wait to see a lot of people, especially my judging friends, because I judged in 2019 down at Wodapalooza, and it was one of the highlights of my judging short career. Just being to all them, and I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll be short of some volunteers and pull me out of the stands.
Like the sixth man.
Yeah.
I can't
tag him in.
Bring it in the righty.
Patrick, I'm having a hard time focusing on anything but your shirt.
I know. It's such a classic shirt.
Hey, eyes here, Brian. Eyes are up here.
Okay, so Wodapalooza, it starts on Thursday and goes through Sunday. So we have just a couple of days before the action kicks off. Let's start this episode talking about your podium picks on the men's side. Chase, you're our guest, so we're going to start with you.
Oh, am I going whole podium right off the bat?
Whole podium, like 3, 2, top to bottom.
Oh, yep. Top to bottom. Okay, so I had a different one until the most recent announcement that a certain games legend is actually returning to individual competition that I thought would retire. So it's probably more of like a nostalgic gamble, but what does I have? In third, I've lost a thought of who I was thinking. Oh, yeah. Third place, I've got Guy Majeros. He's on like an upward trajectory that I haven't seen in a youth athlete in a long time. Him being with Mayhem, I think only bolsters his ability to keep improving at such a young age. I put Scott Panchik with my nostalgia pick in second place overall. So he gets on a podium in a big time event finally. And then in first place, like this is basically like Wodapalooza is Vellner's playground. Now, the King of the North, I think, stays in first place and picking up where he left off over the last 2 seasons.
The King of the North is the King of South Beach.
Exactly. Taking his ghost white talents to Miami Beach.
Stocking up on all the SPF 2000.
Let's hope so. Brian, how are you going to follow that one up?
Well, it's solid picks, and really, that's the thing, is that this men's field is much deeper than just 3 guys. There are a ton of guys competing who have podium potential. There's a ton of guys competing that have a lot to prove, and there's a huge contingency of men in particular competing in this competition who are really close to breaking through to the games in the next year or two. But if you're gonna, I completely agree with Chase in terms of the top pick. If you're gonna contend here, you're gonna have to go through Vellner. I mean, the last time that we had Wodapalooza, he did win it on a tiebreaker over Cole Sager. But it was just, it was just one of those things. Like, come the last day, he just executed perfectly, did exactly what he needed to do to catch up the points and win. And I expect that he'll be the guy to beat again this weekend. The late addition of Scott Panchik to the field obviously is an exciting one. I have to think that he wouldn't be signing up for something like this unless he was feeling really good, and that and I don't just mean physically. I mean that things are going well with his family, and that he felt comfortable traveling, and that he's not just doing it on a whim or out of nostalgia. So I think he is actually a threat, but I'm still going to keep him off the podium. I'm actually going to go with his brother Saxon Panchik to get in the third spot. And for the second spot, I'm going to take Cole Sager. I don't really think people are giving him enough credit for how good he is at these kind of competitions. He's had some top 10 finishes at the games, but in the last couple of years, he's had a lot of podium finishes in competitions with 6 to 8 events. And I think that he's the kind of guy who, with such a deep field, I mean, there's over 40, there's 43, I think now men registered for the individual elite division. Like, that's a huge field. And if you can avoid having a bad finish throughout all of the workouts, however many there end up being, then you're going to find yourself right up in contention. If you can couple that with a couple top 3 finishes, then you're going to be in podium contention. I think that's the type of performance we can expect from Cole.
Going back to Scott, were any of you guys surprised when you saw that he was registered? Like, had you heard within the community or just from folks that you guys know that maybe this was something he was looking to do?
I was shocked, honestly, because, usually it's like the Brett Favre retirement, I guess, with Scott. It's like, I'm just kidding. I'm coming back. And very surprised. And more of it is just like health. And like Brian said, is like, there's no way Scott is just going to be like, yeah, that sounds cool. Right. With the type of athlete he is and the success that he's had over the years, like, I wouldn't jump into something where I could potentially maybe embarrass myself out on the competition floor and with the nagging knee thing. So I'm excited to see how he does, because the only thing that bummed me out at the games was that Scott was unable to compete at the level that we knew he was capable of competing in. And maybe we get to see it next weekend.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time he's actually been able to share the floor with his brothers, Spencer and Saxon, since maybe the 2018 regionals. So, he's not going to go out there and embarrass himself in front of his younger brothers. So, big brother still got to put the beat down. So,
all right, Patrick, who do you have in your podium picks?
Oh man, I went back and forth, and I think at one point my podiums looked like Chase and Brian's, but I'm gonna have to go number 3. I'm gonna go with Cole. Just for like what Brian says, and plus, and like I said, these shorter events, a lot of Wodapalooza is mainly known for having a lot of couplets and triplets, and Cole usually does pretty well in those, especially if it's pretty decent weight. I mean, he knows how to move, and most of these workouts, it's just right up his alley. I mean, when they are, I guess, but what we've seen, I like what he's in. Number 2, I'm going to go with Hopper. Last time, if you look at what Hopper did at MAC, and I like the programming, I think might be very similar to what they have at MAC, the couples and I know a lot of people were looking on, well, how does Hopper do as a swimmer and runner? And he actually did pretty good at the games in those events. I like Hopper, number 2. And plus, he's had almost I guess 4 months working with Matt and his coach, Jake Marconi, who will be on the floor maybe not on the floor, but he'll be competing against coach. But I like, and then Vellner at 1.
Okay, not bad. Some similarities, but do we have any dark horses? Like we were saying, the men's side is pretty stacked. Who are some of those people that might just make the cusp or get close to the podium? Let's go back around. Start with you, Patrick.
It's hard. Like I said, there's like 8 athletes there that can easily podium, and I really wanted to pick Ricky to finish in the top 3, Ricky Garrard. But I think, when I was in Vegas, he recently got COVID, and I don't know if he'll have his lungs back, and that's what the type of athlete he is. And he got COVID pretty bad. It really knocked him out. And, he's got less than a week to get in shape to do that. But, I don't think he's really a dark horse, but my dark horse would probably be Alex Vigneault. and then and I like Karavis from Greece. I really like him. I was impressed by him in Dubai. So those are. I know you asked for one dark horse, but I can't really just pick one out of this field.
That's okay. We'll let you pick two.
Yeah.
Well, to say there's 8 podium contenders is, I think, is cutting it short, because you guys each have a guy on your podium who I have ranked outside of the top 8 contenders coming in.
Oh, wow.
I have Guy at 9 and Hopper at 10. But there's even, there are guys beyond that that could be top 5 threats. Like, it's a really deep field, and there's the way that the points shake out, and having the capacity, like I said, to do really well in a couple workouts can go a long way. And because of that, I'm kind of both curious and excited to see Samuel Cornway. I wasn't sure if he'd come down for this competition or not. He was kind of a late addition, but we talked to him prior to the games, and he was really, really selling himself high. And then he came out and had an incredible performance in event number 2, but he started feeling bad. And basically, you just look at the rest of the weekend for him was frustrating disaster as far as he was concerned, to not make the top 20. But what he did during event 2, I'm just curious to see if he can replicate that for a couple events or for an entire competition weekend. He seems to be a guy that has all the tools. He's been around for a decent number of years now. He's right in the middle of his 20s and kind of the prime of his career, 26, 27 years old. So I want to see Sam Cornway show up, and hopefully we see something similar to what we saw from event 2 at the CrossFit Games this past summer.
I like the Sam pick. I think the hard part about it's almost harder to pick a dark horse with this field, because it is a deep field, because they all have different strengths and weaknesses of each other, but it almost levels the playing field. There's a lot of parity of talent on the men's side. That's why it's so tough to pick. But I'm leaning towards the Ricky thing, because yes, he did get COVID, which is going to set him back based on the things that he's the best at, which is a lot of lung stuff, a lot of work capacity stuff. But with that being said, it's like, if Ricky was healthy, I would have put him on my podium again. I put him on the podium in Dubai. Now, Dubai wasn't as strong of a field as we have here, and it wasn't as big, right? This is twice as big as we had at Dubai, plus a little extra. But with a, COVID recovered Ricky, I think it is deserving of a dark horse to mix it up. Would I be surprised he'd get on the podium? No, but he's definitely has the ability. And I'm just excited to see what he can do with a little bit more adversity.
When it comes to the men's field, what do you each think the bottom line is?
Ooh.
I go first on. I go first on this one.
Yeah, you go first.
Let Brian have the reins once.
I'm going to keep thinking.
There's like I mentioned earlier, there are a ton of athletes in this field that either narrowly made the games, but made it through an online format last year, or narrowly missed the games in either an online or in a live competition setting, that are competing in this competition. And just, a few examples that narrowly missed it that we're going to see here are Dallin Pepper, Taylor Self, Nick Matthew, Tyler Christoffel, Phil Toon, and there's certainly some more. Fabian Benito from Spain was, I think, 6th or 7th in the Europe over there. There's a lot of guys that feel like they are right there on the door of getting to the games, and this is their best opportunity to check in and see where their fitness is about 6 months after they last competed, and about 6 months before their next most meaningful competition, semifinals next year, which most of these men are taking as an afterthought, that they're going to get there. And the real question mark is, will I be able to advance from there to the games next time? So those are the guys that I'll be watching this week to see which one has made the most improvements, or is looking, the most different or more composed, or whatever it is, from who they were 6 months ago at semifinals.
I like what Brian is talking about, because, sorry, Patrick.
No, go ahead, Chase.
The list you rattled off is just the last chance qualifier that they had to do online. And now we get that in a live competition setting. And, all those athletes had a great finish throughout the weekend. That was the last chance qualifier. So for me, with such parity of talent, is that I think the bottom line is, who's going to make the least amount of mistakes? Are we going to have that consistent Cole Sager or Scott Panchik? Is Vellner going to be able to afford to have one mishap event like he usually does in competition somewhere outside the top 20, top 30, which could actually keep him out of a podium spot with the field that we have? So I think the one who makes the least amount of mistakes or drops the ball the least amount, well, that's what you're going to look for over the weekend.
I think for me, the bottom line is it's, morning chocolate caused a little bit of controversy. when they asked when Vellner would retire. And I think the bottom line is, it's like Vellner says. I think he quoted, interviewed with him. He quoted, he told the other athletes at Rogue, as long as you let me keep winning events, I'll keep on competing. So the bottom line is the field going to let him win events? So who's going to knock off Vellner?
I like that one.
All right, guys. Thank you, Patrick, Brian, Chase. We will all see you back here tomorrow. We have the women's podium picks. We're getting excited. Wodapalooza this week. We'll see you soon.